Wow.
Guys,
Hey everyone.
what's up?
That's cutting it close.
I didn't know what I was going to see when we started. I was the only one on here.
That was cutting it close.
No, we were all here.
We were all here, ready to go.
Nothing to see here.
Oh my god! I'm like, oh my god, Ian, what's happening? I'm like having technical problems, everything, and then all of a sudden, everything works.
I was just sitting here by myself.
Jay,
It's gonna be the Steve show.
I find Jay. What the hell happened to Jay?
I'm trying to
Camera
use
shut off.
something. I'm trying to.
Don't do that, Jay.
Trying to
I'm
manufacture
sorry.
technical problems.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, it's not working, Ian.
You just click a different one.
Let me see.
So we were away last week in New York and Boston. We had an extravaganza weekend. We did an extravaganza and private show in each of those two cities. So we did 4 shows in 3 days. You know, it's always hectic, but it's a lot of fun. You know, we always have a great time at those events. Still think we're still bouncing back from from the pandemic. So you know, the audience sizes were still on the small side. Again, it's always hard to gauge. I mean, we're kind of in between waves right now, which is good, but it's hard to say. You know, it's just a new world.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, you know, New York City was weird, right? A lot of people, most of the people that came to see us in the New York City shows were not from New York.
I know,
not from the city at all, which I thought was kind of
crazy.
funny.
So basically, no one that saw us in New York was from New York. Almost nobody.
I don't know if we had if you have actual numbers on that, Jamie. Everyone I spoke to, whenever I said where you're from, 100% of them were outside of New York.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I talked to a couple of people. One person said that there's so many things going on in New York at any given time, like any Friday or Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
There's thousands of things going on in New York City to do. So there's a lot of people have to pick and choose like what they're going to go do. But I thought our private show in New York went great. Andrea Jones-Roy joined us, and that was awesome. Yep. We had a great time talking to her.
I'm editing that right now. It was a lot of fun.
And then I really loved our Boston extravaganza. That show was a ton of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I thought everybody was on their game that night, which was great.
And
So
The next
Yeah, I
show
love
is going to
these.
be in Arizona, Phoenix, and Tucson. So, Jay, it looks like tickets are already on sale for those.
They are. The two venues went live on those. I thought they were going to
Really?
wait until Well, we
Yeah.
talked and we said that we were going to wait until after these shows, but they both did it.
We still have to update our website, though, right?
No, it's updated.
Yeah, I gave Ian the links before they were live.
Oh, here you go.
And this
July
They're there.
15th and July 15th in Phoenix, July 16th in Tucson, 8 p.m. start time for both shows.
Yeah. And we've never done a venue like these. Two venues are different style of venue for us. This is like it's a very large theater venue that has a giant floor in front of the stage. And typically when people go to these things, it's standing room only. Like it's all like basically being in front of the stage. I'm not sure if they're going to put seating in there or not. I hope that they do. These are details that I got to work out with the venues. But pretty cool. The very big rooms. That both rooms can fit over 800 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'd be really cool for us to go do. Ian, whenever you're ready, let's go through some of that stuff, that backlog stuff that we have.
Yeah, we have a few videos. Let me pull those up real quick. Do you have a preference, Jay? You want to go through them, or just do you want to do the image first?
Yeah, do the image first. I
Okay.
want Steve to see this.
You mean this image of the book?
Of the book.
The book. We just got the latest batch of covers for the next book. Again, I don't think we're allowed to show them.
No, we can't show those.
I should ask, but
I would think that's a big no. They're
did you
very
guys take a look
particular.
at them?
Yeah, I like 2 and 3, like you said. You like 2 a little bit more, and I think I like 3 a little bit more because I think it's more impactful.
It's a close call though. They're both good. Did you look at them, Bob?
No, no time today.
And we literally just got them. Yeah.
But the actual image is this.
All right, so this I wanted to talk to you guys about.
That's
this.
the Tesla robot, right?
Yes, this is their robot, and Elon Musk had some very strong words about this part of their business that he talked to his shareholders about. He basically said that this is the most important thing that we've worked on in the past 12 months, and that this part of the future business of Tesla could dwarf the other parts of the business. I think about that. That's a huge statement that he's making about what he thinks.
But I have to be honest. When I heard that, my reaction was that he's like a little bit of like lack of attention. Like he's on to the next exciting, cool thing. You know what I mean?
I had the same exact reaction.
Electric cars are still massively important and continuing to push that ball forward. And, getting cheaply into space is still massively important. You have 2 successful companies, Tesla and SpaceX. And I hope he doesn't take his eye off those balls. I mean, I believe I'm really enthusiastic about, turning, if you could make a third company that's as successful, building these, humanoid robots.
Yeah, Steve, we got
Okay.
a billionaire that's interested in robots. Do not discourage it.
Not
Well,
discourage that, but
it
sounds like it's like he's all into this, like as if like the
Good.
electric cars are old hat. They are not. They just barely have market penetration. They've got.
But Steve, what's probably
continue to
happening is, he's the idea man, and he's like, deciding on what the future investments of the company are going to be.
Yeah.
Like, I question, I don't know what the answer is. I'm just questioning whether or not Elon is super involved in either of those 2 existing businesses, right? Is he really in the day-to-day for SpaceX? Is he really in the day-to-day?
Well, it's a matter of prioritizing investments and expansion and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Now, look, at Tesla did, I think they grossed at over 17 million in 2021, and they profited 2.5 billion. Sorry, 17 billion they grossed. They profited 2.5 billion in 2021. Massive business. I mean, the business is growing way more than the financial people thought it was going to. So both of his businesses are doing unbelievably well. He clearly has a ton of money to invest in the robot thing. But the reason why I thought this was a really cool thing for us to talk about was I put it to you 2 guys, the two guys that I co-wrote a book about future technology with. What if successful, this robot is supposed to be a laborer. It's supposed to be able to do things. He's going to use very similar algorithms that he wrote for the cars, for the automation of the cars. He's using for this thing. I guess, they just morphed all of that logic into, essentially a different body, right? A car has a particular style of movement and all that, but it still has to make decisions, and they have a lot of that software already done. So what's this going to do? Let's say, for the sake of this discussion, let's say that in 5 years, he is churning out robots that can work as laborers.
I'm assuming you mean after they perfect the sexbot function.
Well, of course, Steve. I mean, that of course has to come first. If they don't work on that first, then he has no idea about business. But, if we have a robot that you could purchase and you could tell it to do things in a factory setting, it can do dangerous things. It can do things that, are related to extreme temperatures. What's this going to actually do? Where
I don't know
we here? Let's talk about it. I'm curious to see what you guys think. The initial. So
here's the thing. I mean, this is not a factory robot. Why would you have a factory robot that is shaped like a human? You would have robots that are optimized for whatever their task is in the factory.
Sure. You
would make a human robot because you want it to move around in spaces designed for humans.
People.
Yeah.
And that's a really tall order. I don't know that we're there yet. And this may be the kind of thing that if you try to pull the trigger on something like that too early, it's just going to flop. It's just going to be like, come back in 10 years or 20 years.
They could drive cars.
Yeah, but the point is, it's really challenging for a robot to get around in, like Johnny Cab, to get around in human spaces and to mix and mingle with humans, because our environment has a lot of delicate things in it. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna let that robot put your dishes away? Think about that. It's really hard. It's one of those things. It's a lot harder than it seems.
But let me put this question to you.
Yeah,
because
just the fact that it has a hard exoskeleton is a non-starter in my opinion.
But is there something to be said about the fact that, like, first of all, he wants the robot to do things that people do. Yeah, now, I agree with you. Picking up boxes, the human body is not optimally designed to pick up heavy weights and move them around. I mean, we're dexterous, but we're not exceptionally strong. And there probably is a better design than the human form. But he clearly is showing this picture. He's going for the human form. I think he wants them to occupy human space. He doesn't want... it doesn't seem to me that he's building a factory that's going to churn out... I mean, that he's going to put optimized robots into. He's making them human form.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
The fact that he's making them human form tells us they're intended for human spaces and tasks. Right. And I don't think the technology is there yet. I think sometimes you just have to wait for the basic technology to percolate before it gets to a point where you can have a specific application. This is something that we pay close attention to, and we've recently researched and wrote chapters about. I don't, unless he is focusing on very specific advances, specifically designed to give a robot the ability to function in human spaces, I think this is going to be, a novelty and not take off. Depending on, obviously, I don't know what the time frame is here. Is this the kind of thing like it is going to percolate for 10 to 20 years before we actually have something that he thinks is going to be marketable? Then okay, maybe. But
I agree with everything that you're saying, Steve. I agree. Now let's play the mind game here of, let's say in 5 years he does achieve this human form robot that can do human tasks. It's programmable and it can do it. I'm really curious to know, like, what will that do? What will that be like? Well,
exactly. So, or you could frame it this way, which we do a lot in our book. What's the killer app? Yeah. What is the killer app that will make it so that people want to invest money in this technology? It was like the Segway. The Segway is great technology. It's really interesting. They did it. They achieved their goal. But what was the killer app? For it, what was the thing people were going to buy it to do? Yeah. And it turns out there wasn't one. except for very small, like niche, like a mall cop kind of thing or whatever. But there wasn't the kind of thing like everyone's got to have one because there's this one thing you could do with it that everyone's going to want to do. And also there was an infrastructure problem, which may be an issue with these robots as well, that the infrastructure is not adapted to them and they're not adapted to the existing infrastructure. So there may be an infrastructure problem, but there could be this, how much are they going to cost? Why am I going to buy one? Like, obviously, you're always going to have the early adopters, the people who have more money than they know what to do with, who are going to buy one to say that they have a robot. But, if it's going to be marketed to the masses, tell me, and again, maybe he knows he has an answer to this question that I'm not thinking of, or this will have some functionality. And again, there's all kinds of possibilities. We explored like what the possible applications would be, but it's got to be worth the expense. It's got to be better than a more dedicated robot. Like, is it going to cook? Then why don't we get a kitchen robot that's actually optimized for cooking? Is it going to clean?
Just
Do we
need
really
the
need
arms.
it to clean?
Well, I find it.
Guys, let me chime in.
Yeah, go ahead.
But
Hi.
part of the benefit here is to not create a fully functional humanoid robot that can do tasks. Part of the benefit is we're in the general research stage. I mean, if he could crack some nuts like mobile robot navigation in a cluttered human environment, power supplies for mobile robotics, lightweight materials for use in robotics, you could apply that to any type of robots. You don't need to apply it to just a humanoid one. So I'd be very happy if he pumps billions of dollars into this type of research that you could apply to lots of different robots, not just a humanoid one. So that's fine with me, man. Just pump in and get the research done.
I think
but that's different. Then you're MIT doing robotics research. You know what I mean? That's fine. That's great.
But if he's developing, even if he focuses on just a humanoid robot, that's going to be applicable to lots of different robotics in general, and also lots of other industries as well.
Are you just advocating for him to throw a couple of $1 billion away researching how to build this, but it's not going to actually become a viable product?
It's like a concept car, Steve. You see concept cars all the time.
All right, so yes.
You will never see a real concept car on the road. It's test beds. It's all test beds.
Well, okay,
so that's fine. Again, that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about, though. If the Tesla car was not built as a concept car, it was built to revolutionize the auto industry. Is this just a fun science project for him, a concept, and developing the technology? Great. I'm all for that. And if he has the money to throw away on that, absolutely. But if this is going, if he's presenting this as this is the most important industry, this is more important than the car and the SpaceX, it's like, eventually, I suppose, but I just don't see it as revolutionary at this point, unless he's like leaps ahead on the technology from where anything that's out there right now is.
Well, I think one theme that we don't have a lot of data points, but there is a theme here with Elon Musk and the businesses he builds. One is he takes something very complicated and he brings it into practical life.
Yeah,
he made space travel affordable. Not for us, but he made it affordable for many more companies. It's much more accessible now. He made, electric cars and autonomous vehicles. He supposedly he's always on the cusp here of launching that code that's going to make all the cars be able to drive themselves. But he did do that. I mean, let's give him credit where credit is due. He did create a brand new car.
But let me push back. You are correct. And in both of those cases, with the electric car and SpaceX, there was a clear need that he filled.
Mm-hmm.
There was a market that he filled. So I'm also asking, what is the market for this? What is it? I don't know,
Steve. It's not clearly defined.
That's my point. That's the only point that I'm making.
No, it's a great point, Steve. It is the point. It is actually the point. You're right, because we don't know. Now, I would like to think that the geniuses that he surrounds himself with, they've thought about this. I hope, right? I haven't heard anything about it. I tried to find more intel on this, and I couldn't because this information was given out to shareholders. I guess the big shareholders, whatever. But the point is, though, point is we can't deny that humanity can use robots if they can do a certain.
We already are.
Yeah, like what I'm saying though is right here. What we have is he's trying to build the next generation of robots that are going to be able to intermingle with people and do stuff.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to do. Now, one thing I noticed is we do not see this robot's hands, and I find that to be very interesting because I couldn't find an
Is there
image.
no picture? There's no picture of with the hands?
Couldn't find anything but this picture. Maybe more have come out since I did my.
And this is just a drawing, right? This is like,
that's a rendering. I'm pretty sure that's computer generated. But I just thought that was an interesting thing that's missing from this picture. Like we can't see its legs.
I see pictures of, renderings with the hands.
Ian, can you bring those up, please?
Here's one full body with the hands. Just you can extrapolate to the rest of the body.
Let me find that. Hold on.
But like I was thinking about this, guys. Not that like replacing a glass blower is a necessity, right, in our society.
Yeah.
But like think about how complicated that job is. A glass blower is mechanically doing something, but also artistically doing something. And that's nuanced. That is what I would consider to be one of the heights of future robotics, is to be able to replace someone that's doing something like that.
So but of course you could say build a glass blowing robot then. So what this might have is versatility. And you could say, you could assign it to any of 100 tasks. It's not dedicated to any one task because it's like a person. We already know how people can do all these different things. Okay, I will buy that, the versatility argument, but that may not be enough to trump, the functionality, argument. It's like sometimes trying to make something that does everything is a failure. It's like I know, I can't remember who told me this, but one person that I think it was a doctor who was saying, don't try to use a drug to do everything. You want to pick the best drug for everything. It's like 3-in-1 oil. It does 3 things poorly.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You want the best one for each of those tasks that you want it to do. So, but so I think I see industry as you always want the most efficient process doing the thing that you're doing. And there's not a big need for the versatility end. Programmable is different, and we already have programmable CNC machines and blah, blah, blah. But, and I just don't see the human form as an industrial robot.
I totally agree, Steve.
And
he's going for something here. Let's zoom in on that.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is. I'm dying to know what that is. But he said labor shortage at one point, but really I don't buy it. And if it's for the home, I would argue, and if I were advising Musk, not that he needs me to advise him, I would say if you're going for a home robot, I would start with a pet rather than a human.
Yeah.
Make a robot dog, and then all the things that people would want a robot in the home to do, a dog could do. Build in all of your communication, alarms, whatever, cleaning, whatever things that they do, security. You could build all of that into a pet, and that would be a companion, everything.
Yeah,
I would love a robot pet that would run into the room, barking at me to tell me that I have a meeting, like a calendar reminder. That would be amazing for me. Ian, can you zoom in on that robot? So he didn't. So look at this. He made this thing. I want to see the full body. Is that possible when you zoom in? The hands look articulated, and it is clearly made to occupy human space. Clearly, that's what he's going for. So that said, what laborers will this thing replace? Like, what are we talking about? I agree, Steve. You don't know. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I think we're hitting the same points over and over again now.
Yep. All right. What's next?
Let's move on. I want to talk about rooftop solar.
Let's talk about rooftop solar.
Because of the net metering law change that's about to be signed in
This
Florida.
This is the new update.
This is the update. That's great.
Finally.
So human looking.
It's a little uncanny valley.
Yeah. So what is it, Steve?
All right. So Florida is proposing a change that the legislation passed, and they're waiting for it to be signed, a change to their net metering laws, similar to what happened in Nevada. So right now, if you own rooftop solar, right, when your solar panels make more electricity than you need, you sell it back to the utility company.
Right. Yeah.
And then when you need more electricity than you make, you buy it back like you normally would. But in states with even net metering laws, you get full credit for the electricity you send to the grid. So, right. So you get one credit, for 1 unit of electricity, you get a full credit for it. So now the utility companies are whining that this isn't fair because when they buy electricity on the open market, they're paying, 20% of what they're selling it for.
Mhm.
And so why should they be forced to buy electricity from residential solar producers at full price,
at a higher
at a
price.
higher price? And they also argue that the non-solar residents are subsidizing the solar customers because they're paying for the infrastructure, and the people with residential solar they're using the grid without paying for it, basically. So that's the industry line. Both of those points are complete bullshit, and I want to explain to you why that is.
All right, go ahead.
So first, the utility company isn't buying electricity from residential solar producers. They're giving you a credit that you can only use to purchase electricity from them, right? It's like a store credit. It's not cash. It doesn't have the value of cash. It's a credit. So they're not buying electricity. You know what I mean? So the only reasonable argument, so that's just nonsense. And the only reasonable argument would be like, well, they're using infrastructure and not paying for it. But I think that argument's nonsense as well. So there's been multiple independent studies. I think we could safely set aside the utility company studies. If we look at independent studies, what do you think the net effect is of having residential solar on the costs of the utility company and the cost of electricity?
It drives the cost of electricity down.
It actually is an advantage to the utility companies. So the net results range from little to no effect to a net benefit for the utility companies.
How do they benefit?
And why are they complaining about it?
Because it's a money grab. It's just greed. They're just trying to make an excuse for short-term profits. Because what are you doing when you finance the building of solar panels to put on your roof? You're building capacity into the system that you're paying for, either directly or through a leasing company.
Right.
And it's not using up any physical space because it's going on your roof. So there's zero land use. It's clean energy, and you're building the infrastructure. So the utility companies actually have lowered capacity costs. They don't have to build as much capacity as they otherwise would, and they save money. They have to invest less money. And so that offsets the fact that we're using the grid, that solar producers are using the grid because they paid to install capacity onto the grid to a net benefit for everybody. Now, there is of course, there's always nuance to these things. It depends on a couple of variables. The one is just like how the utility company is managing their infrastructure, because you could do it in a good way or you could do it in a bad way. And the other big one is what is the percentage penetration of residential solar into the market. As the amount of penetration gets higher and higher and higher, then eventually you do get infrastructure costs associated with trying to push up solar that high. You have to install more transformers, and you need more interconnectivity, et cetera. You have to share electricity over a larger and larger grid distance. But we're nowhere near that. I mean, if you look countrywide, right, we're worldwide, we're nowhere near that degree of penetration. Solar's at about 10% right now. But there are some local markets like California where they are getting to that point. And so, you just have to decide what's the relative benefit of all this added free capacity that the utility company didn't have to pay for, to then having to handle all of that capacity.
Steve, when you say that we're adding capacity,
to generate electricity.
All right, so it's the capacity to generate electricity. So there's more electricity coming in from more locations.
Yeah.
And then what do they do? Like, what do they do with extra electricity that's pushed onto the grid?
They give it to people who need it.
Okay, and how far can they? Do you know how far that we can move electricity? Like, is it
So there's 3 grids in the country. There's the Eastern grid, the Western grid, and Texas. So you could share it within the grid theoretically, but they
okay?
try to keep it local just so they don't send it. Really, the farther you send it, the more
Yeah.
inefficiency and loss that there is. Um,
So now we're talking about a grid that is able to generate more electricity,
right.
has more electricity available, and the more people that get solar panels, the easier to distribute that electricity will be, right? Because we can keep it local.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. So the grid, on the whole, is getting better the more solar users there are.
Up to a point.
Okay.
Right, up to a point. But here's the other point. By the time we get at the current trends, like how much solar people are building, by the time you get to the point where we're going to be stretching the infrastructure because we're basically shifting to a distributed, production, the battery home, like residential battery backup, is going to become more and more affordable and more common.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what that will do? That will completely solve the problem, right? Because now you have distributed grid storage too. You're welcome. Right now we have residents paying for production and grid storage. So it saves everybody money. What the utility companies are worried about is that they're just not making that money, right? They're not as important to the whole process. They're not making the money, and they want to, and their profits are going down.
Poor babies.
I know, poor babies, right? And that's so they're finding excuses to find ways to charge people more for the energy. So they're charging like one-time setup fees or monthly infrastructure costs, or they're saying, oh, well, we're only going to pay you 20% of what we then charge you for that same electricity.
So what did Florida do now? What laws?
Well, the
did they
legislature passed the law. I think DeSantis is going to sign it, so they're fucked.
So he passed a law that says they can charge less. They'll pay less.
Yeah. In the Sunshine State, that's correct.
Yeah.
It's completely short-sighted. And the other thing is, so if you lease your solar, it's a deal killer because typically those contracts are such that you are forced to purchase 100% of the electricity from the leasing company, whether you use it or not. You just buy all the electricity produced by your solar panels. And then if you don't use it, you get credit for it. But if you're not getting credit for it, your electricity bill could double or triple. Yeah. It becomes the industry would be destroyed by that.
So what can be done? What can we do?
Well, this is all regulation, right? And it's state by state. So you just got to keep an eye on the net metering laws in your state. And this is happening everywhere. The other thing that's happening, so again, the utility companies are like, boo-hoo, we're not making as much money. So they have the bullshit argument that they should charge less, pay less for the electricity they're getting from residential producers, charge infrastructure bills, or they want to charge for peak use, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is only semi-reasonable. I mean, I could give them a little bit there. So they're saying they're going to basically charge each customer a VIG based upon their peak usage. It's bullshit in that if you use a certain amount of electricity for 1 second over the course of that month, you get charged with that as your peak usage. And again, that's aimed right at solar because we know, that like solar users are going to have peak usage when the sun goes down. It's like an hour after sunset. So it's a way of screwing over residential solar users. But again, it's why if you can pair it with battery backup, then you can use the battery backup for peak shaving. And it actually saves you money because you're not getting that peak that you're going to get charged for.
I mean, it sounds to me like the federal government has to get involved.
Well, that would be one thing to do is just rather than having to fight 50 battles where the federal government say, nope, this is what's happening in all 50 states.
Yeah.
But I think Texas would be immune to that. The reason that Texas is its own grid is to make themselves immune to federal regulations. But because the other two grids are sending electricity across state lines, the federal government can regulate those.
Yeah. So, Steve,
Yeah.
do you think that a single house will be able to generate and store its own electricity requirements at some point in the near future? Right?
So, like, for example, right now, my house produces 100% of the electricity that I use.
Okay.
Although that was calculated before we had a Tesla, so it may not be 100% now.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
screwed up. You're screwed now, man.
No,
Well,
but
whatever.
that's the whole point, though. You want to move everything.
But
to
100% is good.
100, really?
And I have that didn't even use up my whole roof. I could theoretically have them throw on more. Tell them, hey, I got a Tesla, and my electricity usage went up 20%. Throw on a couple more panels. But one problem I've run into is that when I first installed the solar, again, I'm leasing, I didn't get a battery backup because they was really just coming into existence at that time. So I wanted to refit, right? Do a retrofit. No one's doing it. No one's doing the retrofits.
You meaning that you want to get a battery wall and you can't get one?
Yep, that's what I mean.
What, really? They're hard to do, or is it too expensive?
No
What's
one's
the deal?
doing them. No one's doing the retrofits, only for new solar installs.
Oh.
So if you're going to put solar on your house, get battery at the same time. It's hard. Now, a couple of the companies that spoke to said they're looking into doing it. I should check back with them. So it may be something that's going to change. But I think, whatever. They're just trying to pick the low-hanging fruit. It's just they probably just make more money by installing it with the solar. And whatever capacity they have, they want to make sure they're getting the maximal benefit. So they don't want to waste their batteries doing a retrofit. That's what I assume.
Yeah.
But hopefully at some point I'll be able to do it. I think when the battery supply isn't so low and they're cheaper or whatever.
Can we put nuclear in the studio?
Yeah, we could put nuclear down there. That'd be the other option. Just get a
nice
small nuclear reactor.
I'm all for that. Little modular reactors buried underground. I'm good for 2 decades. Bam.
Yeah, or just get a massive solar, nuclear diamond battery that produces continuous electricity.
Huge. Yes.
So with enough backup
for 30,000 years.
The batteries are the home batteries, the wall batteries. They're freaking expensive, man.
They're expensive,
right? The average person can't even afford those. You have to lease it, just like you're leasing the solar panels, right?
Or get a loan. I think clearly, and again, this is another place where laws can come in. I think the best thing to do right now is when you buy a newly built home, if you're building a home, build in the solar and the batteries with it, and it just becomes part of your mortgage.
Yeah.
Right. And it just becomes part of the value of your home. It's like building electricity into your home. You're spending a lot of money for that, but nobody would think twice about doing that, paying for it, and making it part of their mortgage. It should be the same kind of thing. But obviously, there are a lot of existing homes. And so there's a number of ways to do that. If you have the cash, the best thing to do is just to buy it outright. Then you own them and there's no issue. If you don't have the cash, then you can just lease your roof to the solar company. That's what I did. They just install the solar panels. I paid nothing. I'm just paying them for electricity instead of the utility company.
Yeah.
Or in addition to, and it's 20% less.
Lease the solar, lease the battery, and then if there's an apocalypse, you're golden because it's all yours.
No, Bob, because those solar panels are not hooked up to batteries, right? Like that's the thing I thought you can't do.
You can do it.
It's doable, but you need to know what you're doing. So learn.
If they're not hooked up to batteries, then the solar panels shut off when the electricity's off, because you can't manage the solar panels, which ironically, without electricity, and you can't without the internet and all that. So there's a safety issue where the company needs to be able to regulate how much electricity is being sent to the grid. And if the system's down, it doesn't function.
Wait, did I hear you just say that when the power goes out, your solar panels don't work?
That's correct.
Yeah. Hello.
I know. But that's so there. If you have batteries, they do work. They have to be rewired so that they will, because you can charge your batteries. You just can't send energy to the grid, but you can charge your batteries when you're off the grid.
Okay.
when the
but
power's out.
Yeah. Then
So you need to spend another 5 or
20.
5 or 6 grand, yeah, 5 or 20 grand getting these batteries installed into your house so that your solar panels will actually save you
during a
an
power outage. And then also that insulates you from any shitty net metering laws that your state decides to pass. In Nevada, they completely gutted the net metering law. They made it retroactive. So if you're somebody who was already leasing your solar, you got totally screwed. Totally screwed.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, we have
What's
something
next?
else to show the audience.
All right.
And what do you got?
Sorry, I had to vent. Go ahead.
No, it was all awesome. I didn't know any of that.
Okay, so we have a couple more videos. Let's see, what is this? Oh, the book. Oh, okay. There's the book. There we go.
Yeah, I had to.
That's not supposed to happen, is it?
No. So
That's
of
not
course
good.
that
Deep
happened
fake.
mid-flight, right? So this happened during a flight. This is a passenger video. The engine
there is
exploded.
audio.
Oh, there
They
is.
can't eject it.
I don't think so.
Well,
Now it did damage the wing, right? There's a little bit of damage there, I think.
There's something on the wing.
On the wing. But my God, could you imagine? Could you imagine how scary
There's
that
another
is?
one on the other side.
Yeah, but Steve, it could have compromised the integrity of the wing. Come on.
Yeah, there's a lot. That would be anxiety producing.
Isn't there fuel in the wing?
Yes.
Yes.
So fire near the wing.
Yeah, not good.
Fuel, not good.
Yeah, I guess we do need a way to have this drop them. You hit a button and it just comes off.
Although over land, I could see how that would be problematic.
Yeah, it's true. All right, Ian, I sent you some more. Let's show me something else.
Let's see, what is this one?
This is so cool, guys. Check this out.
Oh, it's
near that one, but
you know what's going to happen.
The drone craft.
Bit of a drone.
I mean, it's here. The future is happening right now. It's here.
I would be more excited if Elon Musk.
Oh God, sorry.
Yeah,
very loud.
If Elon Musk did this,
if he was going to develop a flying drone, than a robot, that would be my choice.
So that's all about battery tech, though, right? I mean,
were you saying human sized? Yeah, that probably lasts like 3 minutes.
Do you guys think? Do you think that the four of us, I'm including Ian on this, do you think that people like us will one day have access to craft like this?
I do. 20 years, I would say, yeah.
Like someday we're all going to step into, a drone craft like this.
I don't think we will ever own one. Maybe our kids will. I think that we will take a ride in them, like as a taxi service. Sure.
Okay. That'd be cool. The
technology's here. The technology's here.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's magical. It's awesome.
And now it's just a matter of there's no
safety and batteries.
No innovations or whatever are necessary. Incremental improvements will just make it better and better.
Needs a ballistic parachute too.
I'm going to need to at just about 6 o'clock. I have to run down and I'm making bread.
So butter your bread.
I have to deal with my dough.
Hey.
Ian K, that's personal. Can you show us the next one?
Not on the stream. Yes. Oh yeah.
Wait,
oh,
start it from the beginning. We got to play the sound.
Yeah, let me actually. I'm gonna have to show it for a second while I unmute it because I muted it.
You got to bring it back to the front though.
You have people who know shit.
Okay, so then.
But there used to be a time when we had two groups of people. You have people who know shit and people who don't know shit. And back in the day, the people who didn't know shit respected the people who knew shit. And you would be in a situation, it might be work or social situation, and the people who know shit would be talking about, well, I know some shit. Yeah, I know some shit. Let's talk about shit we know. I know shit. And the people who don't know shit would kind of hang in the back. And they'd be quiet, and you'd be like, well, why aren't you talking? I don't know shit. I don't know shit. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I'm gonna try to learn some shit.
Yeah, so true.
It's a good bit.
I know it is so true.
Oh God! All right, we got something else for you. Let's keep going,
right.
Ian.
I think that was it.
No,
was it.
no. What about that
What do you
picture I
mean,
sent
no?
you? What about the picture I sent you?
Oh, that. Oh, well, yes, I forgot. Talk amongst yourselves.
All right, Ian's gonna bring something up.
All right, what'd you guys
But-
think of the slap?
Oh God,
it was,
why
it was
that?
absurd. It
Anything else?
ridiculous, like
I love the
sense
reaction.
of-
Was like, oh,
I mean, could you
Jesus.
imagine sitting there? Somebody kinda, I guess, insults his wife. I don't know. I didn't really think that was much of an insult. But you get to the point where he actually thinks that he has the right to get up on national TV and slap a comedian on national TV. Will Smith has a complete ego problem it's a gargantuan elephant in the room. It's like that's what famous people have going on. They actually think they can get up and do shit like that on TV and it's okay. Oh my God.
and
give me a break.
they told him to leave, and he refused.
He refused. Yep.
He said, "Nope, I'm not going." Then he gets up on stage and accepts an award.
I didn't know
Yeah.
they told him to leave. Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
Steve,
he
because
refused.
the ego is so out of control, completely out of touch with reality. Think about what would somebody have to say about someone that you care about to get you out of your seat to walk up on national TV. Not what was it 9 million people were watching, I think, at the time, or like an incredible
millions.
Like I don't even know if there's anything that could possibly be said that would give me the desire to get up and do that or whatever, make me do it. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
his
and you could
speech
argue
afterwards, his speech
Yeah, it
was
was-
his speech was worse.
it was
And
worse.
it's like, you're in Hollywood. You're a celebrity. People can make fun of you. People can punch down. They could make bad jokes about you. That's part of it. That's what happens. They know this. And then so here's a joke that you don't like and you assault somebody. What the hell, man? It was ridiculous.
I have a theory. I watched the video, and when Chris Rock was telling the joke, Will Smith was laughing.
Yeah.
And I suspect, I don't know how right this is, but I bet that his wife gave him a look that sent him into that direction, right?
Maybe.
So she must have signaled to him that she was super upset about that. But so what? Okay, so your wife is upset. You are famous people sitting in the front row, okay? You are like some of the most important people in the room. And that's the example that he wants to set. It's so guys, so disappointing. And this is a guy who I always thought he was a great actor. I think he's comedically very funny. I'm not into Will Smith today like I was in the 90s, but always had some level of respect for him. And that entire thing that I had for him evaporated.
He definitely took a hit.
Yeah, well,
that.
he doesn't deserve it.
And of course, she has alopecia, and he was making fun of a condition, and you could say that. But I mean, it's subjective. It's is that within the realm of what comedians do? Absolutely. I mean, what are you gonna say? Don Rickles was mean to me. I mean, it wasn't out of character for the situation and for Chris Rock and his level of humor. Apparently, there's some history there, but whatever. So there's always these nuances. But even if you think that the joke was over the line, and sure, you could make a reasonable argument for that, it was ridiculously unprofessional and and privileged and all of that. And also, I think a little sexist, like to be the white knight protector kind of thing, which was a little
that's
cringeworthy.
That's part of it. I mean, how much better would it have been if he did go on stage, or even better during his speech, accept his speech.
He said
he could have said something about make a comment about how he perceived that joke. That would have been just so much better. That would have been the way to handle it. You combat it with words, not with open hands. I mean, it was bad. I mean,
all right, Ian, are you ready?
For him.
Oh, I'm ready. Here we go. Okay, moving on.
Who are those three monkeys?
I'm curious. Is it obvious who's who?
I think it totally is. I mean,
left to right is J. Bob Steve.
Yeah. We're all wearing coats that have patches.
Yeah. That was the style at the time.
Your hat was the best, Jay.
Yeah, the hat is you're rocking that hat, Jay.
I know, right? I don't think I ever wore a hat better in my entire life. Oh my God. I just love that. I love that I found this picture. I think it's adorable. And it does, those three faces look like us, as far as I'm concerned. You, Bob, you and Steve have the same exact hair color.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, yeah.
Yep.
Then it got darker, and then now it's getting lighter.
We had good times back then, boys.
Yeah, we had it so good.
I wonder what you're doing, Steve. I wonder
We got it
what's
great
on
now.
your
Who are you
mind there.
kidding? Huh?
We should redo this picture.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah, doable.
we dress
Very
up
doable.
like that, get the hat, you know.
I don't think Steve could get that same facial expression that he got in that picture. That's going to be tough to replicate.
I was
love that.
still testing out the new teeth at that time.
Oh my God. I know. I keep talking to my kids. So Dylan is getting most of his adult teeth in now, right? My 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And, you know, kids don't like to brush. And I'm telling him, like, I'm just like, Dylan, pay attention to what I'm saying. The teeth you have in your mouth, think about it. I have my teeth, right?
Yeah.
The teeth that you have, I have them. And I still have them. And they're in very good shape because I meticulously took care of my teeth. And I'm trying to explain to him the finances, like there's a financial burden to not brushing your teeth. There's a hygiene problem about not brushing. I'm giving him the whole thing. But the kid brain wins. The kid,
Yeah.
he's not able to intellectually get to that point where he can make himself do
You
it
will
yet.
have those exact same teeth for 80 years.
Yeah.
Or not.
I
Yeah,
disagree.
or not.
It's up to you.
And then he talks to his Uncle Bob, and I tell him, don't worry about it. By the time you're 30, they'll let you grow a third set of teeth on demand. Don't worry about it.
Don't you dare, Bob. That would totally
Jay.
scuttle it.
Jay, you gotta show him that 1917 movie.
What,
The
what
World
happened?
War I movie.
What?
The restored footage from World War I.
Oh, I know exactly.
Go on
I
that.
just
It's
want-
like
I'm just
Scared
gonna
Straight
we can
Man.
watch that movie and see what it looks like. You live a life with no toothbrush and no dentistry. And
That's
this
no
is-
dental care. That's what no dental care looks like. They're
Yeah.
19.
and
I mean, it's
and
blew my mind.
legitimately bad dental care and dental hygiene can kill you. It actually can kill you.
Yeah.
A friend of mine just got an abscess that was late. The doctor, the dentist, and the oral surgeon both told her, I have never seen a bigger abscess. She got it from nicking the inside of her mouth. A piece of food cut her mouth on the inside. And she got an abscess that they told her that if it went on, her bottom jaw would have become necrotic right here.
Yeah.
That means they cut it out. That when something
Well,
goes
they clean it
necrotic,
out. Yeah.
yeah. So
Jay,
yeah, it's
I gotta
important.
break.
man.
I gotta break in. I just saw this. I never knew this existed. Canned bread. What
No.
the hell?
I mean,
Canned
it's not-
bread.
it's not bread.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Bread is a thing. Holy crap!
Yeah,
It's called brown bread, Bob. Look at that
brown
picture.
bread. Come on. Now.
It's
Well,
not
what's different about
sourdough
it?
bread.
Well, there's a Swedish. Is it Swedish chat? Tell me if I'm wrong, but they like use the heat from like the local volcano to like bake a bread like in a can, like in a tin. They do it. It's like a very dense bread. Chat.
Somebody
Spotted
in the
dick.
chat.
It's not spotted dick.
Somebody in the chat said my aunt died from sepsis from a tooth extraction. There you have it,
Oh.
folks. Right? It's dangerous. You got to take care of your teeth, man. So please don't tell Dylan anything like that, Bob. Don't even joke because I'm pushing hard.
I could joke on the stream though.
Yes, of course you can.
Somebody says that's a New England classic. You're a liar. I've
B&M
never heard of
canned
that.
bread.
Canned bread. Have you ever heard
That's
of
the
canned
same
bread?
company that makes beans, right?
Maybe.
I've never heard of or seen canned bread before.
B&M.
I have
That
to
sounds
try
like
it
a.
now.
I don't know.
I have
BM
to try
bread.
it now.
I don't know about that. Oh,
Someone in the
no.
chat said we all die eventually, and my response to that is, do you want to die from having a necrotic jaw? No, that's not the way you want to die.
At a
There's
younger age.
better ways to go. Much
I
better.
didn't want to
ways
die.
go.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Maybe it's
wanna
not
die-
Sweden.
I want
have
to
it
die
with
like my dad
raisins
did.
or original.
My dad died going out like a switch. That's the way I want to go.
Yeah, I want to go like Grandpa. In his sleep, not unlike his passengers who were screaming.
That's a funny joke.
I was reading a subreddit, and the question was, "What is the most iconic movie quotes of all time?" And I read one. I don't know what movie this is from, but the quote is, "Hey, if I'm not back in 5 minutes, wait longer."
That's a
I thought that was
that's a
awesome.
classic one. That's
What-
Caddyshack.
Is it Caddyshack?
Is
I
that
don't know.
Caddyshack? It sounds
I don't
like a what's his face? Who's in
Yeah,
Caddyshack?
Caddyshack.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well,
Chevy Chase. It sounds like a
Okay.
Chevy Chase
yeah,
joke.
totally. But there wasn't. I know that movie inside and out. It's not Caddyshack,
No,
or at
it's
least
not.
the first Caddyshack.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
the
the second one. Wait longer.
The
I've
most
heard that before.
iconic quote. I mean, there's so many.
Well,
Ace Ventura. Oh, somebody says Ace Ventura. That might be Ace Ventura.
The actual question was, what is the quote? What is
Thank
a
you,
quote
Chad.
from a movie that instantly brings the movie to mind? Right?
I mean, there's
So-
a million of
Well,
them.
Like
Didn't-
get
that one
in the
didn't.
get in the chopper.
Chopper.
Get in the chopper. No, get to the chopper.
Get to the
Get
chopper.
to the chopper.
How about you talking to me?
Yeah.
There's a billion of them. We can
I'm
spend
Mitchell Aston
years
Mars.
all
I'm
day.
walking here. Yeah, totally.
I'm walking here. Say hello to my little friend.
Of course, right?
Have fun
I love-
storming the castle.
Um,
All right,
All
I'm
right.
gonna quickly go handle my dough. It'll take me about 3 or 4 minutes. I'll be right
Is that
back.
what you call it?
is there
Handle
a
your
quiz
dough?
tonight or no?
I didn't have time for a quiz today, guys. I'm sorry about that. I have way too much stuff going on. So I'll be back. Now, do you want me to take a picture of what's going on?
Yeah,
Ian, should I take
sure.
a quick picture? All right, I'll be right
Or a
back.
video?
You could connect with your phone. Well, or it's, you know.
I don't have. Maybe I can. My mother-in-law is here. Maybe I can have her hold it real quick. You want me to do that?
Game over, man.
We're
Sure,
Game
man.
over.
you.
Game
If I,
over, man.
if I click the link that you sent before from my phone, it'll work. Ian, on my phone.
Same link. Yeah. I'll pipe you in.
All right. I'm gonna leave my video going here though.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
We'll be looking at your butt.
Yeah, he's gonna go handle his bread.
It's gonna punch it.
All right, now
Slave
what
to
are we
the
talking
dough.
about?
Hey, watch Picard last night.
Sports.
No, I'm
I'm ahead of you.
yeah. No, we will. Well, you mean what do you mean by last night? Doesn't it drop on Friday?
Well, I watched the new one last night. So to me,
Well, was that the one we missed last week? Because I did watch that one.
okay.
So I think I'm caught up, right? So tonight will be the next one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I was
Yeah,
that late?
Picard is. I really like this season. I thought it
Yeah.
was good.
I want more Borg though, please. More Borg.
We watched the new Spider-Man movie
Yeah.
last night because it's
No Way,
streaming
was it
now.
No Way Home?
Yeah, I
They
really
killed
liked
it.
it.
It was so good. So
I mean,
good.
it was such. I won't say any. Try to. I'll try to avoid spoilers, but it was such. People our age, fan service, nostalgia service, whatever. But who cares? They did it well. It was awesome. You didn't feel like it was gratuitous, and it was
Visual,
extremely
special
effective. It was a very enjoyable, fun movie. Really, really liked it. They nailed it. I think the the whole multiverse idea is so far they're nailing it.
Yeah, it's such a no-brainer when you think about it. And we have the freedom to do whatever we want, with no consequences, really.
Not only that, but just again, you could do things like they did in the Spider-Man movie.
Right, the variations of the characters that you love. You got these characters that you love, and you could have so
no
many
spoilers.
iterations of them. And no, but I'm also talking about the whole idea of a multiverse,
Yeah,
just in general.
there's Jay.
Look at Loki.
Ian, can I
How
flip
many
my
different
camera?
Lokis did we see?
Yes.
How do I do it?
Under the
You're
gear.
You're doing
No. Under the gear. Look at the gear at the bottom. Oh god.
I can't hear you.
The gear at the bottom.
All right, let me look.
Turn up the volume. Boomer.
Yeah.
No, it just turns it. It turns the camera on and off.
No. The gear, not the camera icon. The gear icon on the
To
right.
the gear. So go to video.
Yeah, right. And then
Okay.
it should say front cam or back cam or
It
something.
says mirror camera. All right,
No.
let me see. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, here we go.
No. Yes,
All right.
you did it.
Here,
You
not
did
gonna-
Very
it.
good.
Yay.
Don't dox yourself,
Wait,
please.
on me?
Yeah, where are you going?
I'm going here. I'm just going to show them. Make sure they can see
Oh.
what I'm doing.
Let me full screen it.
All right, so here's my dough. This has been the second rise.
Oh,
So what I got to do is this dough has to come out now.
That means something very different in Bob's house, by the way.
And I've got to prep this.
Smells good.
this is what rich people do.
So this dough is going to come out of here, and I'm going to prep it for baking. So
Nice.
can you see it?
He's handling it.
Okay,
Chat, how do you think? Is he handling it well?
here we go.
Getting a little fancy with the dough.
All right, so the first thing I got to do is I'm trying to create tension on this dough. So I'm going to pull the dough like this because I want the surface of the dough to have tension. All right, you see how I did that? I got
Yes.
kind of a
Yeah.
ball here now. I'm going to continue to do that.
Oh,
It's very sticky.
the Wolfie. Okay.
So now I'm going to flip it over.
Just scream at it.
Whoa.
That'll make it tense.
You see how the whole consistency of the dough has changed now?
Is your basket floured?
No, it's not. All right, I'll do that.
Always flour your basket, people.
This is the proofing basket. So the
Uh-huh.
proofing stage is the last rise that the dough does. And when you proof it, you don't change the shape anymore. I can change the shape of the dough right now, but after I put it in this basket and let it sit for about an hour, we don't let it proof anymore. And of course, the one time I have trouble putting this thing on, I need to put it against myself.
Okay, a lot of guys say that.
What is that? A shower cap?
Now you gotta really flour it.
Yeah. Okay. So I got to flour the hell out of this.
Why? It's not going to stick to that
Because
thing.
it sticks.
Yeah, because it's super easy to stick.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to continue to shake my dough. I want the top here to have tension on it, like I'm actually making it a little tight.
Mhm.
And then I'm almost done. All right, so I've shaped it into a ball. Now I'm going to flip it over and pop it right in here. Okay, I can pinch this a little bit if I want to help keep that tension on there. And this guy now sits out for about 50 minutes. It's going to rise a little bit more. And then I put it into a hot Dutch oven. I'll flip it over and drop it right into a hot Dutch oven, and it goes right in the oven.
And you're doing the oven now?
Yeah, we'll put the oven on. I will put the oven on 525. Oh, no, I don't want that one at the bottom of it.
Chat said they're skeptical of this. What does that mean?
Here we go.
What are you talking about?
All right, be right up, guys.
They want an intro of your mother-in-law, if that's
What did
okay.
you say, Mike?
They want an interest what?
An
Say it
intro.
again, Ian.
They want an introduction to your mother-in-law.
Oh,
if that's
all
okay.
right. Well, let me dry my hands, and I will introduce you to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is one of my best friends. Let me see. Let me put the camera around again. This is my mother-in-law. Whoops.
Hello.
This is Ange. She's one of my best friends. We cook together. This is what happened.
Welcome
I
to the
told
internet.
Mom, like, Mom,
Yeah,
I
really.
want to make bread. And she was like, okay, let's go. Immediately, let's go. Let's get the flour out right now. Like, you just hit the deck running. So, I don't know. I got lucky. My mother-in-law is one of my best friends. She's all
Yeah.
in on everything I want to do in the kitchen.
And
Very
Angie is the best cook in the tri-state area.
All right, I'll see you up there. You're losing signal. Okay, goodbye. All right. Well, there was that. Now we can watch him enter the room.
That was Jane in an alternate universe.
Oh, wow. There he is.
All right. See, it didn't take long.
Nah, perfect. Easy. We should do that every week.
That's my favorite stage next to the bake. I love that final stage because I really can get in there and do some fun stuff with the dough.
Yeah.
My
But
favorite stage is the eating stage.
Okay.
I'm getting better. I'm able. The thing that you learn when you're continue to bake is you start to recognize when the dough is ready for the next step, right? When I first was baking, I had no idea what I was looking at. I didn't know, when the dough changes consistency and when it's more bouncy and stuff, I just didn't know what it meant. And now I get it. Like I can look at the dough and go, yes, it's ready for the next step. So also helps if your kitchen is usually the same temperature, then your times won't change.
And your oven?
No, meaning like if you have a 70-degree kitchen, like my house, I keep my house at 70 degrees. So if my house is consistently 70 degrees, like if I had a big temperature change in my kitchen, that will have a dramatic effect on how long the dough needs to rise. Because the warmer it is, the faster it'll go. So there was a guy in South America, I was watching a video of him talking about sourdough, and he's like, my kitchen is like 75 to 80 degrees. And he said all of his recipes get changed, and their time gets scoped because of that, because it makes a big difference. So when you get up there as when you're more seasoned chef, temperature comes into play. I never even thought about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, in terms of the rising yeast, yeah,
definitely, absolutely. Somebody said, when it goes wrong, do you say "don't"?
Come on, Dawson, you're better than that.
It doesn't go wrong. All right, where are we, guys? What are we
all right,
doing?
what's next?
It's 6:06. Bob, you got bread to make? Come on.
Nope.
Did everybody
All right.
like my mother-in-law?
Yes. There's unanimous consent that they like mother-in-law.
She is adorable.
We should have the Skeptic's Guide to Mother-in-Laws stream, maybe.
It's funny. My wife and her sister, they both are like, you find out things about mom faster than we do. Like I'll be like talking to them and I'll tell them stuff that happened to their mother that they don't even know about. And like, what's happening? I'm like, yeah, because I talk to her every day. She's one of my best friends. Like you guys aren't going to talk to her like I talk to her. I talk to her as a friend, not as a parent, It's very different.
My mother-in-law is 95 years old,
Nice.
and she's doing totally fine. Like she's living by herself, completely independent.
Still giving piano lessons.
Still working, still giving piano lessons. Does everything for herself.
She's
Amazing.
awesome. Yeah, she is awesome.
My ex-mother-in-law is dead.
Oh my God. Bob.
She with Carol was awesome.
She was one of the nicest people I ever met in my life.
Yeah, like flat out, like one of the nicest people you ever want to meet.
Yeah, but Bob, your current sort of mother-in-law
Yes.
is awesome. She's like
Oh my God,
marathon runner, like just a.
She goes to the gym like 4 or 5 times a week.
Jay, she's an instructor at whatchamacallit.
CrossFit. She does CrossFit.
CrossFit instructor. Like amazing. She's gonna outlive everybody you know.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Amazing.
Everyone?
She does stuff like I'm not gonna try that. I wouldn't try that.
I saw a picture of
Amazing.
her doing a pull-up, but dangling between her legs was a yes, Mom.
You didn't put the pot in. You're doing the red one?
Oh yeah, please put that in, Mom. Thanks. Watching my back.
Saving your butt, your bread butt.
Yeah, the Dutch oven has to get up to temperature with the oven. You put that in. So she was doing a pull-up like this with a 45-pound plate in between her legs.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is something else right there.
Right.
Don't
Pretty
piss
baller.
her off because she'll
wouldn't.
knock your jaw loose.
In her 7th decade.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, so Evan couldn't make it. I asked George, he couldn't make it. It just was the 3 of us. I thought we had a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Thought we did a pretty good job. You want to call it
It's
quits? You want to take some
pretty
questions?
good.
What do you want to do?
Let's
Steve?
take some questions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we haven't taken some. If you haven't already put some questions, please do put them in the Discord. If you're part of the Discord, that's
What is a
most
Dutch
people do.
oven in Australia?
I don't think you want to answer it. And it's something different.
I think he's talking about the Dutch oven that you do in bed. You know what that is?
Easy. Whoa. Hey, come on.
Let me tell you, it's not
PG stream.
dirty. It's
I
not
know,
dirty.
I
It's not
know,
dirty.
I know. But
You
it's funny.
basically you fart and then you push your wife under the blankets and trap her in the blanket, and they call that a Dutch oven. I would
Okay.
never
You don't
do that, by the
You don't
way.
even both go in there. You just do it. That's
Yeah, you just
like-
push her in there. It's not a
Okay.
good thing to
All
do.
right.
Why can't it go the other way? Can't the wife do that?
Of
to her
course,
husband?
of course.
Thank
But
you.
I don't think a woman would even do that. You know, it's a guy thing.
Yes,
Or
women
you could do
don't
it to
do
your
that.
kids, I guess.
Much better. Question. Still interested in their take on Havana syndrome?
Yeah, I've been sort of following along with that. Yeah, there's not really anything definitive about it, so it seems like there's something there. I know that the government is not ruling out that some of the cases are not due to testing, weapons, whether it's infrared or ultrasound or whatever. It's not implausible that you could give somebody headaches and symptoms from a distance. So that's possible. But it might not be the explanation for all of the cases. So it's basically these are government workers in different parts of the world, like in embassies or whatever, who develop this sort of set of vague symptoms like headaches, etc. And it's become a syndrome. But we don't. I think the one thing is we don't know what's causing it. So the question is it just like mass, mass delusion kind of thing, like the sick building syndrome, or is there actually something happening? And I've read sort of both things about that, so I don't know. I don't think I have a definitive answer on that yet.
Next question from Mitch. What advice do you have on being a first-time parent?
Wow. That's a hard question to answer.
I'm assuming you mean as a skeptic.
Yeah,
We're not going to give generic parenting advice.
I mean, you're going to be assaulted with pseudoscience.
Yeah.
You
Everyone
prepare for
will
that.
come out of the woodwork with their magical recommendation. Just ignore all of it.
Yeah, I mean, also there are books that are much more science based than others. I wish I had it off the top of my head. Is it Parenting 911? I think was one of the ones I really liked a lot.
Parenting magazines are generally terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
In terms of the advice that they give.
Start looking for a pediatrician right now.
Well, you should have a pediatrician.
Yeah, well, at this point, I think they already have to have one.
Yeah.
Because this baby is out. There's a picture in Discord, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Learn to negotiate with terrorists. That's about it. Because that's what they are.
They're little
in a good way.
terrorists.
Yeah, in a good way. I don't say
Let
why
them
that.
sleep
Edit
alone when
that
the
out.
time comes. Let them sleep alone.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Don't
Yeah,
go
definitely.
back in.
Oh
You know,
God.
at the appropriate age.
Yeah,
They gotta be able to settle themselves by themselves, right? They need to be able to wake up and then go back to sleep on their own. Otherwise, they'll be dragging you in that room for a long time.
Yeah, that's a true. From Gatmac, has Jay hidden the YouTube chat from his window? they think you're. Why are you saying bad things about Jay?
No, I
YouTube?
I wasn't responding on YouTube chat earlier. I just did.
Oh.
Somebody was asking about the pin set at that they bought at the extravaganza. So one of the pins that we had made is a monkey fighting a bird.
Oh yeah.
And I guess this person hadn't been listening to the show long enough to know what that is. It's like an old joke between Perry and Steve, where Perry believed that because Steve is a birder, Perry said to Steve that any monkey can kick any bird's ass. And then it turned into a debate that lasted years, sometimes serious and sometimes not serious. But we found some interesting reality inside here. There was an old some type of ancient skull. It was like some type of early monkey that had raptor claw holes in its skull, and that to me that finished the debate.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that bird ate that monkey, no question.
Yes, without a doubt.
Just look up a terror bird, and that kind of answers the argument, even against Gigantopithecus.
But it was funny. I mean, Perry was like, what did Perry say? Something about the beak flip. What was the beak flip line? Any monkey worth its salt could give that bird a beak flip or something like that.
Question for the rogues. Some people use religion to deal with feeling down. As skeptics, it doesn't really work. What do the rogues do/recommend to get out of an acute mental funk?
I mean, it's so individual. It's hard to give generic advice that would apply. Depends on what you mean by funk. Depends on, if it's more of a medical condition rather than just a situational thing. Of course, if it is situational, it's like, well, what's your support structure? Who do you have in your life? What do you do? There's so many variables. In terms of just like, if you're talking about philosophically, if we can't make ourselves feel better by appealing to magic or religion, what do you do? I could just tell you, where my mind goes. Not that I'm not prone to depression or anything, so I don't really have to deal with that. But when you think about stuff like that, I think for me, what's most important is that there is no objective perspective, right? There's no objective meaning in the world, in the universe. We are always going to be looking at things from our subjective perspective, and we're going to inject our own meaning. But you could lean into that. Like if you're going to say, "Oh, meaning just is what we make it out to be," then you can derive meaning from things that make sense to you and are useful to you. Like relationships and family. I also think, you could be spiritual in like a humanist way, where you look at the human condition and embrace that fully. And there's a lot to seek comfort in that, but also just sort of stepping back, like whatever, if there's a situation that's getting you down, I mean, some things objectively suck and you just got to get through it. Right. And just knowing that people are fairly resilient, we can survive and find happiness in the most horrific situations, is I think really, really helpful.
Steve, can I give a couple of
Yeah,
suggestions?
go ahead.
So if you're having a really bad episode and it's lasting a long time, and hopefully it isn't, but if it's getting worse, I suggest you find a therapist and get cognitive behavioral therapy. It's one of the very few things that has been proven to work. You have to really dedicate yourself to it, and it takes time, but that can help if you're having a horrible situation go on. Another thing to do, though, exercise. Get out of your house, walk in nature, and exercise. Another thing that you could do is socialize. Depression makes you want to, anxiety and depression makes you want to be alone, makes you want to kind of, hole yourself in and be under the covers. And it's counterintuitive, because most people that deal with depression, they all understand that they feel comfortable when they're in bed and they're kind of hiding under the covers, but that's bad. You could do it a little bit, but you also have to socialize and get out and have other things going on in your thinking. Because if you're home alone, you're thinking about your depression and you're becoming a subject of your depression, and you have to top your depression. And that means live your life. So get out there as best as you can. And then finally, there's medication. You have to talk to your doctor about that. But I have had a lot of great success, and Kara says this all the time. She has fantastic success with medication. That's another thing that you can do. Get professional help, though, if it's like a ongoing thing. And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay. We got a link that I'm trying to call up. It's from PNAS. Shout out to Kara.
Hey, Kara.
Regional synapse gain and loss accompany memory formation in larval zebrafish. So, comments? No, the question is, if you printed my brain exactly down to the atom, would the printed brain have my memories?
Short answer is we don't know, because we haven't completely fleshed out what the anatomical correlate is to the storage of memories in brain tissue, right? So I would say, it depends on what you mean by down to the atom. There's certainly like we know some things, like we know that the dendritic structure is certainly important for long-term memories. How many dendrites, where are they connected, what is the distance between them, between the synapse, like how tight the synapse is. We know that these things are involved. The pattern of connections is important. But there may be other aspects that we haven't fully fleshed out yet. So if we were able to do that, it would be a very interesting tests, we could then test our hypotheses by seeing if we could reproduce them. But at some point, the question is, at some point, could you reproduce the physical brain in such detail that it would be you? It would have all your memories and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
In the proper medium, made of the
Yeah.
proper medium. If you just printed it,
It has to be a functional medium. It has to be, I'm talking if you're biologically printing it out of actual cells, like neurons and astrocytes and everything. So you're actually reproducing a brain that had the exact same structure down to the smallest detail, then it would have all of your memories.
That may be the first real, artificial general intelligence.
Yeah, just reproducing a brain, even if we don't understand.
Yeah, right.
All of everything about it. Yeah.
We got a question about when we're coming to Florida. That's never.
That's
I'm
not never. Why?
Objecting. No, I will never step foot in Florida. How dare you?
Ian,
That state.
we have to talk, man.
No.
So,
Eh.
in fact, starting in September, I think Kara's going to be living in Florida for a year.
That's true.
So probably at some point because that's where she's doing the
Are
next.
we
phase
authorized to announce that?
Well,
No.
yeah, whatever.
We'll meet her in Atlanta.
So yeah, we'll probably be during the time that she's there. It would make sense for us to schedule, a weekend or something. Extravaganza live shows down there.
Yeah.
We haven't done Florida yet, so we it's
yeah. At some point, I will be at Disney World. That's a fact of existence. So,
And then we had a question about AQ6.
Yep.
Yeah, I was doing some video editing today. We're going to be launching a few videos, and then the Weta video is going to come out. I mean, it's all going to happen very soon. I'm just buttoning up some stuff. I want to
Monday night. Are we doing Monday night?
Did you guys want to lock in this Monday night?
Yeah.
And do you want to announce the thing that we're going to do with about? We might as well. You know what I'm talking about?
What's that?
All right.
In the email? You want me to say it? So Monday night, we're going to do this thing with AQ6. Is that we're going to actually live stream while we're recording AQ6, probably on Twitch. Maybe we'll go multiple locations, but there'll be the AQ6 branded live stream. So we'll probably we'll post a link to that in the Discord if y'all are
keep
interested.
an eye out for that.
So keep an eye out for that, and it will probably. So if you prefer watching YouTube videos, we'll have the edited ones. But if you like to watch it live and comment along with us, and we'll respond during the record, you are more than welcome to. And that'll be Monday night. This Monday at I don't know what time we didn't decide.
Probably something like 8, but we'll make an official announcement.
Yeah,
and we're going to release the audio as a podcast format as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So
there'll be
all the
live
different ways
stream,
you like.
Yeah, pre-recorded video, pre-recorded audio.
And one big thing before I forget, next week on the live stream, we're going to ask you guys if you're willing to help us. We have our live game show coming up on April 23rd that we'll be doing in Bethlehem, which tickets are still available if you're local. But Ian and I had a listener helped us develop some software, and we need to test that software. Basically, what we'll be doing is we will be playing a quiz game during the live stream, but you'll be using your phone to actually answer the quiz questions. It's not going to be complicated. It's going to be very easy. And if what we need to do is stress test the software just to make sure that it can handle hundreds of people at the same time. So if you're willing to help, we'll just give you a link. It'll be like something like boomerversuszoomer.com/game. Go there and
Boomer v Zoomer. But yes.
Yeah, Boomer v Zoomer. Yes. That will happen next week. And if you do plan on helping us, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Someone asked, what will the
live
stream be talking about? It'll be talking about
good
science fiction. And that's what we're going to get.
That's right.
We haven't decided.
We haven't
done a lot of. We're not
Whatever
going
is the most important
whole thing. We'll probably stream like one of the shows that we record. Then we're going to do like 3 or 4 that night. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
In 3 days?
Yeah.
That's right. Monday.
We need some topics, guys.
So Steve, when you're done tomorrow, Steve, when you're done post-producing the show, call me. Me and Bob will be together because I'm helping Bob move all of his stuff.
I have a lecture in New York Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, bastard. We just want to have a half-hour phone conversation. Can you
Yeah.
jump on a call?
Maybe.
All right, try and
How about
call us.
Sunday?
Sure, Sunday's fine.
Oh, Foundation. Yeah, we never did.
We already reviewed Foundation, but
Oh,
we
that's
did it
true.
like at the beginning of the
At the
series.
beginning.
We didn't do a wrap-up review, which I think we need to do.
Oh, Raised by Wolves season 2.
Raised by
Yeah.
Wolves, absolutely. We could do
Good one.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
A
that'd
ton
be
of
awesome.
shit that we've got a
Spider-Man.
backlog of stuff to talk about.
Not Raised by Wolves because I haven't seen it yet. But
Raised by
Well,
Wolves is great.
yes.
It's a
Well,
totally
you got
weird.
Saturday and Sunday, Bob. Come on. Easy.
All right, thank you all for coming this week. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the questions. I'm really happy that you guys got to see me make a little bit of bread going on over there. Thanks, Bob and Steve. Thank you, Ian. And until next week, guys, we will see you at the live stream. Until next week.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
night, everybody.
Thanks, Ian.
Friday.
Good night.
Bye.
Friday. Goodbye.
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions, dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, hello.
It's just me and Ian.
That's right.
Evan is super busy working, and I
Mhm.
promised him I would not let you down. So I wanted to at least say hello for the after show.
Did you
Now-
try a different one, Jay?
I tried. You know what happens? It
I
doesn't.
think you have to restart. Yeah.
You
anyway.
restart my computer. You think?
Yeah, I think that's what. But yeah, I know it disappears, but that's what anyway.
Yeah, we're trying to do something.
We're trying to do a little April Fools, but we'll do it. We'll do it April 8th.
8th. Yeah.
8th.
It was fun to show you guys the bread baking thing. I'm so into
Mhm.
it. Oh my god, it's really, I think about baking bread all the time now. It's like gets kind of addictive, but
We should like set up a camera in the kitchen and like do a whole, you know what I mean, and just have your your kitchen filmed constantly.
well, I mean, if we do another 12-hour show, which I think is possible this year,
Mm-hmm.
then sure. Yeah, I mean, we could, if we back at I could do it at Steve's house, no problem.
Yeah, we
do
did
it
a
anywhere.
whole crazy setup. If y'all haven't watched the 12-hour show, go watch that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll do the whole thing. I'll make a whole loaf though from scratch. I'll
Whole
teach
loaf.
everyone how to do it.
Yes. All right, I like it.
It's really fun because I have the whole thing in my head now. I don't even need to look at the recipe. I have all the
Yeah.
numbers in my head. When you
Nexus
get to the point,
2022 idea. Yeah.
what's that? Oh yeah,
Oh, sorry.
sure.
Cody said Nexus 2022 idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's not spot on topic wise, because
Yeah,
we have
not quite.
our
But we have some exciting stuff coming up with Nexus, so stay tuned for that. We're not going to announce it just yet, but we're working on some pretty cool stuff, y'all.
somebody just put a really interesting idea up, Ian. They said meatballs in the bread.
Oh yeah.
Is
I've
there a
accidentally
way?
had that. I've accidentally had not meatballs, but like pork. I was like, why does this bread taste so good? They're like,
Yeah.
oh, there's pork in it. And I was like, oh.
Oh, I don't
I
eat
was like,
meat. Well,
Guess I'm not a vegetarian anymore.
yeah, Dave
uh,
Convoy in the chat said that it worked really well, even though it was just using my phone. But yeah, the
pretty good.
Restream software works really well. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. Look, my mother-in-law, who
Oh,
is not a technical based person, was able to manage doing that,
There you
so
go.
it had to be easy.
Got it.
Yeah, so I'm going to
stuffed
go down
bread.
there. Sorry, Ian.
Oh, they were just saying all these different options for stuffed bread. Sausage rolls, olives in the bread. I like olive bread.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah.
some good olive bread. I might,
Yeah.
I might experiment with doing something with the meatballs. I just want to. I've only had one meal where I ate my meatballs and the bread at the same time.
Mm.
But it was like frozen. It wasn't, I want to like do it for real from scratch, like the
Hat,
whole thing.
please. Hat. Alexis is like hat, please. Alexa.
All right, so I'll give you a
Not
quickie
Alexis,
update
Alex.
on that. I formally ordered the patches. So remember, here's the one that is stitched on the hat,
Mm-hmm.
and here it is with,
Ironed on. Oh, printed on.
this is a sewn on.
Sewn on. Sorry.
Clearly, they look different, right? One is superior to the other. So I went with this style. I ordered the patches. I ordered a whole bunch because I'm going to just sell them to people who just want to buy patches as well. That'll be at our live events. But I have to finalize a couple of details. Like I have to find a company that will actually sew the patches onto the hats. And once I do that, we will take pre-orders.
Cool. Yeah.
And I really hope that you guys enjoy them like I do, because I live in these hats.
We will do. It will be good. I'm sure at least Alex will buy it. At least we have that.
We have at least 5 sold. I'm pretty confident, but yeah, I mean, it's not going to work if only 5 people do it. Though. I'm hoping that we get 100 people or something.
That's true, but they could buy 20 hats per person. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, but how are we fulfilling this, Ian? Like I'm not.
I don't know. We're gonna drive it to their houses one at a time.
So, yeah, we'll hand deliver them.
We'll hand deliver it, everybody.
And
for the AQ6 thing, also, I'm gonna try to convince them to stream all of the episodes because I think it'll be more fun if chat is there along with us while we're doing that on Monday. But we'll see.
We are exceptionally excited about Strange New Worlds, which is the new Star Trek series coming out. Yes. And let me give you 10 seconds of why. So I've been a little disappointed with some of the later Star Trek shows. There's good episodes in all of them, but none of them to me match the original series and the Next Generation. And I'll tell you one of the main reasons why. I think it's because I like episodic science fiction, especially on TV. I want them to have a one-shot mission. Something's going wrong, and they go and they solve the problem, then they come back to the ship, and it's basically rinse and repeat, right? Sure, there could be an overarching plot, but I find that Star Trek doesn't work well when the overarching plot takes over. For some reason, it just doesn't pop like those first 2 Star Trek, the original series and the Next Generation. They did the episodic thing really well. There's character development and the characters get to know each other better and all that stuff. That's fantastic and it's crucial. But I think Star Trek needs to be episodic. And this series is supposedly episodic. You never know because, the producers and the writers, you never know what we will end up with, but it seems like it is. They came out with another, quickie trailer for it. And I thought it was awesome. I think, in 20 seconds, they established the engineering character and it just seems really neat. So I think this is going to be a very good show. It may very well become my second favorite Star Trek TV show. And I want to talk about it a lot on AQ6. But of course, we're going to talk about everything else that's going on in the world of science fiction. And I really hope you guys like this Weta video. It took us a long time to do it. It was a ton of work. Many lives, were not lost, but people were waiting. Nobody died. Let's face it, nobody died for this. But I hope you like it. That'll be coming out soon. I think probably within a couple of weeks. That's my guesstimate. And there we have it, folks. I got to go do some bread magic, and I will see you all next week. And hopefully Evan will be here, but always at my side, always is my friend Ian, who is an amazing technician, one of the best. He is not.
We should have him on sometime.
We should have him on sometime. People are like, they're convinced you're a robot, Ian, because you never show your face.
No, I'm not. Beep.
The
The Alpha Quadrant 6. Actually, I don't actually know if we even. We'll post it in the Discord about the Twitch link for AQ6. I think that's it. Is that it?
That's all I have. Hey.
Bada boom. Hey, all right, y'all.
May the watermelon be with you all, my friends. I'll see you next week.
That's true. That is it. I'm gonna toggle Jay off. Say peace. Did he toggle off? I think he toggled off. I might have accidentally toggled him back on. Okay, goodbye.